Hey everybody, welcome to this issue of Staffing Monthly, the industry's only digital publication that focuses on bringing you actionable insights and reliable resource reviews from the industry thought leaders. And we focus in the areas of recruiting, marketing, sales, technology, and leadership. And today we are going to be focusing on a technology tool that has a very real practical application to recruiting and sales in the agency, and that tool is CloudCall. And if you're not familiar with what this is, you are in for a treat. They're one of the fastest emerging, kind of on the front of technological advancements for calling technology. And if you've not heard from them, you definitely need to check them out. I am excited to be joined today by my friend Ashley Bowlin and Sam Bernasconi, who is the head of sales for North America and leads all of the account executives and really helps companies learn how to adopt this technology. And they're going to be taking us through this. So, if you don't know Ashley, she is an amazing advocate in the industry and she is the head of partnerships at Cloud Call. And they brought her into that role because of how well she networks. She is a bit of, if I use my own term, a relationship broker. So she's somebody that really probably knows everybody else in the industry. And because of her ability to build strong relationships and partnerships, people tend to call on her to say, hey, who do you know that can do this? And that's really the magic that she brings to the industry. And that's why I invited Ashley here to talk about Cloud Call. So, Ashley, I'm going to kick it over to you to get us started in learning about what Cloud Call can do for staffing.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the intro, Dan. It's great to see you again, even if it is just on video. Looking forward to Orlando next year for sure.
Woo-woo.
Um, so yeah, I mean, I've obviously been in this industry for a long time. I've known Cloud Call for a long time. So getting the opportunity to come on board with this group has been super exciting. I mean, replatforming, really just taking a new approach to, how we approach communications for staffing and recruiting. Cloud Call has been focused on staffing and recruiting for well over a decade. That's our bread and butter. That's our home. So it's very exciting to see. We were just at Bullhorn last week and seeing what that team, my old Herefish buddies are doing with Amplify. And we've just launched, and Sam will dig in more, but we've just launched our AI summaries going directly into Bullhorn Notes. So just adding to that workflow, I've been on both sides of it. So the more we can do with technology and still enabling our recruiters and salespeople to have that human touch and build the relationships, don't waste our time with admin work, down with admin work is Rob Man and Jack and everyone's saying. So
Yeah, right, for
excited to
sure.
be here. Yeah, totally. So that's why I'm excited to be here. I'll kick it over to Sam. He's got his hand on the steering wheel to show us what Cloud Call can really do.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. What's up, Sam?
Hey, thanks so much for having me. Really excited to be here and really nice to meet you, Dan. Um, Head of North America Sales here at Cloud Call. Joined at the end of last year. What really drew me in when I connected with our CRO prior to joining is the new platform that we launched, Cloud Call '01. Doing something pretty new in the VoIP space, a solution that is fully back-ended by the public cloud, not being POP dependent, which can have lower latency, additional issues when it comes to call quality, when it comes to recruiters that we're seeing now are very much in a hybrid model and on the road a lot.
Yeah.
As a sales guy, I've worked at very large organizations where none of the calling was automated. So really excited to show you today our new feature we launched with Bullhorn, where notes are automatically going to be put into the ATS note. No more having to manually update things. I'm a victim of this in sales. It's one of my least favorite things to do, and historically has been what I've had to do is remember what I talk to people about, when, why, and what I'm supposed to do next. So excited to be showing it to you.
I love that. And while you pull the screen up there, I will tee up that that was one of I had to misengage this year. And one of the biggest feedbacks from my operational team was Amplify. And they were like, wow, if we can get these notes written back into, or call notes written back into Bullhorn and be able to search it to help with, better match capabilities, better profile building, all of that stuff, which helps set up questions. Like I was excited to hear about that, and it couldn't be more timely to hear that big update and then have Cloud Call on and talk about how you're doing that. So yeah, why don't you bring the screen up so we can take a look at it and walk through how Cloud Call works and check out O1.
Awesome. Let me know when you can see it. Oh, kicked me out.
Technology. Maybe I
Yeah.
need to get Zoom O1.
Awesome. Here, just gonna start this up. I've got a bunch of Zoom stuff in the way. Can you guys see that?
It's good to go now.
Got you. Yeah, this is great. And I gotta laugh, man. I know. When I carried the bag, I hated putting notes in. And I would like, and if you're making like 100 calls a day and you're like your shorthand would get so bad, there'd be abbreviations in there. People would be like, what does this even mean? What are you saying about what happened on this call? And then in the moment, I think I'm gonna remember what the shorthand abbreviation is. And then like 30 days later, I go back into my own
Yep,
notes. I'm like, this is gibberish. So I remember this, and then being a manager, having to tell all the salespeople if it's not in the system, it didn't happen, right?
exactly.
So I think from a sales perspective, you're probably going to make a lot of salespeople's days right here. So take it away, man. Let's see what we got.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've loved using it. Similarly, I am horrible at taking notes. It also takes you out of the conversation. You're starting to focus on things separately, and that can really harm the candidate or the prospect experience.
Yeah.
Um,
So I
so
got
I've
a
got
question right out of the gate. I'm sorry to throw you off, man.
no worries.
Who's from San Francisco here?
That's me. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Um, we see a lot of Niners there. Sadly, my favorite player, Debo, is no longer with us.
He's
Still need to
gone.
change it, but my personal number on the demo account is Debo, and it breaks my heart a little every time.
Oh man. All right. All right. Well, let's go. I saw that lineup. I'm like, man, this is a strong get right away. So, all right. So sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, no worries at all. So, imagine I'm a recruiter. I want to make as many calls as possible. That's what we're trying to enable. I've been there having to type out every single phone number one by one when I make a call, making mistakes, trying to copy it down. We're going to enable click to dial. That's why you see every phone number in your Bullhorn instance show up in purple with the cloud call icon. That's going to enable us to do our click to dial and our click to text. So when I hover over the number, it's going to tell me who that number is associated with, allow me to initiate a call or a text. What's cool though, it works in other websites too. So Google searches, Zoom info, every phone number is going to show up and be callable straight from here. What's cool with the showing you who that's associated to, also with a little green versus a little orange guy if it's a contact or a lead, is clue you in on is this person in the ATS already. When I'm contact sourcing a lot, what our BDRs are doing a lot, going right into Zoom info, start calling down right from there. But this lets them know we should go create a contact before I
So
do
like,
it.
hold up there. So like
Mhm,
you ran through that one really fast, and I think that's a powerful
mhm.
thing. So the color code means what? So black, I'm guessing, is just unknown. It
Black is
was the
unknown.
other one was orange. Michael Scott was unknown was orange or yellow.
Mhm.
What does that mean?
So green is going to be, and let me just confirm, orange is going to be contacts, green is going to be leads. Same thing happens with all the contacts and leads we're pulling into the soft phone. So you'll see here, orange and green. The soft phone being able to pull all the contacts in is that the mobile experience is virtually identical to this. So when you're on the road, you don't have Bullhorn up in front of you on the click to dial, but you know who you want to call. You can go into the contacts list, just search who you want to call and call them directly from there.
From the Cloud Call soft phone.
Hmm. Yeah.
Sweet.
Yep.
Sweet. Sorry for
So
the
imagine,
101 questions here, man, but this is
yeah,
the
no
first time I'm
worries.
seeing this. This is cool.
So I don't have Bullhorn up from me in front of me. I can't do the click to dial, but I'm on the road, and I know who I want to call. Even if you have the Bullhorn app, and that's how you figure out who you want to call. You can quickly search them and call them straight from here.
Sweet.
Ask all the questions, Dan. That's why we're here.
I'm gonna ask him. I'm a curious kid here. So yeah.
Yeah, no worries. Keep them coming. Cool. So I'm going to initiate a call. what's going to happen is two things. One is this candidate's profile is going to get pulled up in a separate tab within Bullhorn, and you're going to have a note pop, and I'll show you what that looks like.
It'd be really cool if Debo actually answered. I'd be like,
I wish, I wish.
He's like, why do you
Oh,
keep calling me on your demos?
you know
why do
what?
you keep calling me every day, 5 times a day?
I have the settings on so that the notes get taken in the soft phone from my last demo. Let me just switch that so we can see what that
And
looks
that's
like.
cool that you can have it set different ways depending on like your preferred workflow, or if you're working from the road or you're at a conference or whatever, you can say, okay, actually I want it here, or quickly change it back and have it load into your desktop if you're back on your desk.
Yeah, if your preferences, I'll show you, and it'll make more sense when that note pop comes up. It blocks some of the candidate profile. So if you want to just take notes within the soft phone, you can do that as well.
Okay.
So you're gonna initiate that call. You'll see Debo gets pulled up as well as the ad note. Gonna be at the side. So Debo got pulled up. You've got the ad note again, promoting best practices of keeping notes so that the ATS becomes the single source of truth. Quick chat with Debo. Again, we're going to be putting the AI summary directly into the Bullhorn note, but any manual notes you want to leave as well, or if you have templates you like to fill out during a call, you can do that. We're also going to capture the time spent on the call, whether call was connected or not, as well as the action category. By default, it's going to be outbound or inbound, wherever the call came from. However, we give you the ability to customize this however you want. So whatever data point within a note is going to be most important for the organization to know. First interview, call screen, offer accepted, whatever it might be.
Okay.
While I'm on a call, this is more so for a supervisor, but within the live feed is where our live coaching capabilities are going to live. So I've got a new recruiter. They're hitting the phones for the first time. Maybe they just graduated from college and you just don't trust them fully yet. As a supervisor, can go here in the live feed. I can listen in, so monitor that conversation. It's going well, but they're forgetting to ask a question about salary expectation or location or whatever it might be. I can whisper just into the recruiter's ear. The candidate won't hear it, and give them that guidance. And then if it's really not going well, they're just not quite ready and the call is kind of going off the rails, but you don't want to lose that business off of a bad phone screen or whatever it might be. A supervisor can actually come in and with a barge, and all three parties will be able to hear each other.
So let me ask this question. So you said a manager can do that, and this is the manager's live feed. If let's say a manager, and doesn't matter if they're recruiting manager or sales manager, let's say they've got 5 people that report to them. Will
Mhm.
they see the entire feed of active calls at any given time, and they'll just see like, okay, recruiter one is on this call, recruiter two is on this call, so they'll sort of see the live calls and be able to jump in if they want to or listen in?
Yes. Yep. They'll see everyone because I'm in a demo environment. I don't anticipate usually a bunch of calls
Sure.
going on in here at the same time. But yes, all
Okay.
calls will show up in here. They'll also show up in our workspace. So here on today's overview in our workspace in the live call section, you'll see this call as well.
Okay. That's cool.
Going to take you back here. What we're also able to do with our AI functionality is AI assist. So while I'm on a call, recruiters, salespeople, we talk to so many people every week. I have a hard time myself remembering what I talked to someone about a couple days ago, especially when it comes to, details about that conversation. Our AI assist, while I'm on a call, is going to pull up summaries of every conversation, not just I, but also any other recruiter within the organization has made with a particular candidate. So you can see here, um, getting that historical context of what jobs. Here you'll obviously just see my demo talk track because this is what I use. But if you were a recruiter, you'd see, you can look reference back. They were interested in this, that, the other job 6, 12 months ago. Their salary expectation. How has that changed today? What is that the same today? And provide that better candidate experience, but also make a recruiter more efficient.
Is there in that, is there like a too long don't read option to where like it will, because there's a lot of conversations that you had there that you got to
Mhm.
kind of go back through, and hopefully recruiters are having a lot of frequent conversations with their people and they're creating an
hmm
engaged database of talent, that's the best practice. But so is there like a too long don't read that you're like, hey, this person is kind of in this role now, or these are their wage expectations or how they've transpired or anything like that that rolls up?
That I don't believe we currently have now. It's going to
There's
be
your million
mainly
dollar idea. You're
yeah,
welcome.
Yeah.
yeah,
Kick it right over to
absolutely.
Dev. Have them at it by the end of the week. We're good.
Well, and I think there's some exciting things that we can do with this raw data that's coming into Notes. I was just talking to Jason Heilman and the team when we were at Bullhorn Engage. I mean, why not make that searchable? Why not make it parsable?
Yeah.
I think that's the future, like capturing the data, having it there, and then what's next. So those are some exciting things that I'm really pushing to talk about and not even develop. It's there, right? It's more
Yeah.
just use cases and
Yeah.
how can we enable users to access and pull out those, just as you mentioned, Dan, those key bits of information.
Yeah, because we want people to be able to go fast, right? You know, in a sense, not too fast that they get burnt out, but like we want them to be able to make fast decisions, and having the quick summary might be beneficial there. Um, I don't know if this is too advanced for technology yet. Probably not with the way AI is developing, but from a leadership tool, something you just showed that kind of inspired me to think this is I think it would be really neat if since you're recording all the interactions, if you could actually get like I guess a beat on the sentiment of how people
hmm
are perceiving the recruiters or the salespeople. You know, do
Yep.
the conversations seem like candidates are more like reluctant or put off, or maybe prospects are like on the sales side are like, I'm not really feeling the way the salesperson's engaging, and almost get like what it's like to be on the other side of the recruiter. So like the actual managers can maybe coach a bit. But anyway, I don't want to derail,
Yep.
take it back away. I just want to put that out there into the ether and see if what happens with it.
Yeah.
No,
Since
all of those things are things we're working on. We're trying to determine what's going to bring the most business value, whether it's the sentiment, a coach for scoring, um, pulling out, just specific details from the conversation, like the salary expectation, location. What is going to make people more efficient and be more helpful to them in the short term?
Sweet.
we're really looking to our customers and partners, but our customers to help us determine, what that roadmap looks like, what the priorities are, and to Sam's point, what's going to make the biggest impact for them.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. If I'll tell you from a salesperson, just to, for whatever this is value, I know if you could actually analyze like all of the sales conversations and start to hone in on where's the inflection point that sort of leads
hmm
to success and be like, hey, what are the things that the sales team is saying, or what's the way they're saying it that tends to actually like advance the
Mhm.
conversation versus shutting it down. I feel like if you could actually pinpoint that inflection point in conversation and give it to the sales manager as a coaching tool, I think that would be cool. Just my own
Another
personal insights here.
another
Yep,
million
that would be
dollar
magic.
idea.
Cool. So I'm going to end this call here. I'm going to save the note. You'll see that call's details are automatically get pulled up. Here is where you can listen back to the recording. You can request a summary, which will be the same thing that's put directly into the Bullhorn note. So you'll see here what I just went through within the. It's going to take a couple moments to process.
Yeah.
What it's going to look like eventually is this. Let me get one that has a little bit more data. Here we go. So you're going to see who made the call to whom, the outcome, if it was connected or not, the duration. You're always going to have a link to the details. So if I hit this for that specific interaction, it's going to pull up those details. You're going to have any notes you left yourself. I made a quick mock call as if I was a recruiter, so you can see here, what was talked about, the salary range, the location, all of that. If you want to dive in and get the full transcript, so everything that was said on that call and who said what, we're going to enable that and provide that within the call details in the app. We don't. The reason we have the call summary rather than the full transcription is for storage considerations.
Yeah.
So, and inundating the profile with information that might not be relevant. But again, you can access that here. You can also access that historical summary, which is the same thing you saw within the AI assist live on a call. Here's where you can do, research. This is where I'll go in. If I don't remember all the things that were said on previous calls, I'll go in and look and see what the action items were for me.
Love it. And you can do that on the soft phone as well as back in the workspace. Because I imagine, like leaders, team managers, that kind of thing, they'll probably operate mostly out of the workspace where they can just track what's going on. They're not making the dials themselves.
So one question I had or one thought when you showed me that you can customize the settings depending if because I imagine if you're working in the workspace on a desktop, you might
Hmm.
want to set up one way. If you're going in the field and you're working primarily from a cell phone or a mobile device, you might want to set up another way.
Hmm.
Is there a way to like just almost like memory seats, like you can just set like presets and then just quickly set it so you don't got to go in and change multiple settings, anything like that, so you can like fly from the desk to the car really quickly?
So are you talking about just for taking notes or for when it like calling through when you get an inbound call?
Yeah, kind of like just the entire workflow piece of it. If you want it set up one way, or do you not see that very often where people are like, if people set up a workflow, they kind of use it from a workspace on a desktop the same as they do on a cell phone? Or do you see people changing their settings or their workflows depending on where they primarily work?
Mainly the preferences. So it's gonna ring it. It'll know if you're not on the desktop and ring through to the mobile app. So you'll get a call from your phone. The only difference is gonna be how they take notes. So whether and that's more of a personal preference. So when you're on the desktop, if you want that note pop to show up within Bullhorn, or if you want to take it within the little notes button on the call in the soft phone, when you're on the road and using the mobile app, the notes in the action category are always going to be within that mobile application, which is identical to the soft phone.
Gotcha. Gotcha. And last question, then I'll let you get back to it. With campaigns, what is this campaigns icon down here in the bottom right of the soft phone?
Yep, campaigns is going to be our power dialer. So how that works, and I'll take you through creating one real quick. Within the workspace, you can create a campaign. Just going to name it Bullhorn demo. You can select the date range. So whenever you want this campaign to run, if you want it for this month, apply. You can create multiple pre-recorded voicemail drops. So whatever when you start a power dialer campaign, it's going to call the first number in that tear sheet. If they don't pick up, it's going to drop a voicemail. So you can create multiple based on different campaigns you're running. Save changes. Just gonna leave all of these default settings for ease and
Configure it
time.
as much as you want or as little as you want. There are defaults put in place, but if you want to get more granular, we give you the capability to do so.
Yep.
Is this something where and maybe it's not a campaign, but is this the tool that you would use if you're a recruiter or a site manager and maybe a line goes down in a manufacturing facility and you got to like call 40 people off or 80 people off to say, hey, report late to work or something like that, or there's a major work change that then like could you just pre-record a note and send that voicemail out to everybody and then also send an SMS out to everybody on that same list? Is this the tool for that or?
This is more so if yeah, if something goes down and you need to fill as many jobs as possible, as fast as possible, create a tear sheet for that, create the campaign, and then it's just going to start power dialing down through that. So you're not having to click every time if you want to call someone else. It's always just going to call down that list, drop a
Got it.
voicemail, and then call the next person.
And when
Gotcha.
they do answer, it's going to connect them directly back to that recruiter or salesperson so that you have the benefit of bulk calling, if you will, but still with that human element where, there's a lot of use cases for AI agents, but
Yeah.
for this particular use case, it's when a recruiter or salesperson actually wants to be the one talking once that candidate answers the phone. And if they don't, they get the voicemail, and it powers through.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And if you're a supervisor and you want multiple people, so you add, your whole team if you want to, and then select the tear sheet, and it's going to start systematically calling down that
Sweet.
and save that. And then you'd simply go in here, hit start, and it'll start calling down.
I like
Cool. From a won't bore you with all the other things in here, calls, your call activity, messages, things you'd expect within a phone system. What we've got additionally to whatever, analytics you've built out in Bullhorn is our workspace where all of our admin, the live feed, but also all of our reporting is going to live. So within the overview, you'll see across the organization how many calls are people making in a given week. How many calls are they missing? Why is my team missing 67 calls in a week? Why, for example, is the average outbound time 2 seconds long? Or people just calling in immediately hanging up? Um, all that to supplement what you may have already built out in Bullhorn, but potentially, easier to than building a report if you're trying to find an answer.
Yeah.
Um, Within the direct call records, Q call, campaign, SMS records is going to be by rep, their activity. I like to change it to this more gamified view. I think it's a little bit easier to look at versus the Excel. But this is where I'll go in, check my activity versus the team, make sure I'm not at the bottom, make sure I'm not missing the most calls, making sure that my average outbound duration is as high as it can be. Making cold calls, you never know how long you're going to be able to keep someone on the phone, but trying to maximize that. And then also giving you the ability to do scheduled send outs of these reports. So if at the end of the week you want all the managers to receive an email with their team's activity for that week so that they can review that over the weekend and on Monday tell them to be better, or compliment them if they're making them look good.
Love it.
Um, the rest of this, like I mentioned, mainly admin, managing your queues, your contacts. Contacts won't really apply for our integrated users because we're pulling everything from Bullhorn automatically. If you have outside contacts you don't want in Bullhorn, like if you want, put some of your private contacts or something like that, you can do that as well. And then managing like teams and users. Within the users, you can also see, who's online at a given point in time, check in on your team, make sure that they're working when they're supposed to be working. So here you see everyone's offline. What is going on? Um, and then again, within the live feed, I'll see any calls going on at a given moment, but also trends for that day by hour. I can drill in if I ask the team to do, a heavy call block over the past hour, see how they're doing on that. Not doing great. They've only made 7 calls. Um, and then within the direct call, Q call, and SMS logs is where I'm going to be able to see every single interaction that was made with CloudCall as an admin for the team. So you'll see call that I made, call that anyone else made. And similarly, you can dive in here, download the recording, or view the details how you saw it also within the soft phone where I get the recording, the transcript, the summary, or the historical summary.
That's sweet. So a couple of questions that prompts for me is and again, I skew towards the sales side because that's the path I took in this world. But um, so with this, is there the capability of if they book a call, there's two questions I have. One is about trends and one's about, statuses. If someone
Mhm.
books a meeting, let's say they were doing outbound prospecting calls and they book a meeting and they convert somebody to an opportunity or they change a status or they schedule a meeting in the software, can you track that conversion rate to see how often calls are converting to a sales meeting, or on the recruiting side, how often calls are converting into an interview, so you can start to get a sense for how many calls it takes to get a sales meeting? Any sort of conversion metrics that you've got the ability to report on?
That we do not have currently. One way I'm thinking about how you could accomplish that is with the action categories. The like I mentioned while we were on the call, I changed that to phone screen. But if you're making cold calls, having a category that says converted to first meeting or converted to phone screen, you can have that as an option. Like I said, you can within the company settings, you can create as many categories as you want. So that's a way I'm thinking about how you could track that and use Bullhorn's analytics to track some of that.
Yeah, I would imagine that most CRMs would have the ability for you to do some reporting on that side of it, to pull in the data and configure that.
Yeah,
Would be
I wouldn't. So going on, I should have disclaimed on the onset, I wouldn't expect a phone, essentially a phone tool, to have that capability. But like you've got so much going on, I'm like maybe they can do that. Like it looks
Yeah.
like you thought of a lot of things. So, but going back to the trends piece, how about can you show me, not, I don't mean physically in this, maybe you can
Mhm.
you show me when call duration is the longest, like which time of day it seems like we're getting better outbound calls, so I can tell my salespeople, hey, you better be at your desk from like 9:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. because it looks like our average outbound call duration is 2 minutes and 37 seconds, and every other time of the day it's 1 minute and 12 seconds, which sort of indicates that there's more conversations happening. Um, is that's got to be in here somewhere though, right?
That is a
Sam's
fantastic
digging it up, so.
idea. Yeah, let me see. Not directly, but what you can see is trends of when I have to change it so we have more data. We don't have a bunch of people put into teams
I was
in
gonna
the
say
demo
on
environment.
the demo data, there's usually not enough to get to the level of
Yeah.
granular insights that just kind of pump me out.
What you
Ashley's
would
seen me
see,
talk at conferences. She knows I'm a data geek, so I'm
I
like
love
I
it.
ask all these nuanced things that would typically expand outside of demo environments.
yeah, what you would see for your team here, especially if they're making high volume calls, is rather than months, you'd have likely weeks or the days of the week. So you could see what points or what days people are making the most calls and maybe having the most success. But when it comes to the most or the longest outbound duration time, that is not something we currently have, I don't think.
I bet you with all the advancements you're making with like the AI insights and analyzing your call logs, if you went to your dev team and you're like, "Hey, what would it take to show us to tell our
Hmm.
customers the best times that their sales team should be making calls when they're more likely to connect?" Or on the recruiters, like when's the call duration the longest during recruiting? And I was just dealing with a
Yep.
staffing owner just yesterday. And she's like, we have it dialed in. Like, we know exactly when our recruiters have to be on the desk making calls to schedule the interviews. And then
Yep.
they schedule the interviews at the times where they know that making calls is not going to be effective. And they've got this great balance. And then they also have salespeople, if there's overflow recruiting work, they'll pull salespeople in to hit those optimum recruiting times. And they tend to offset when it's not optimal selling. So I thought that was a cool use case, and recency bias led me to ask the
Yeah.
question here. So
Yeah, I
No,
would
that's a
love
fantastic.
to.
I've always wondered that. Like, what times is it the big? I've heard many times, and I feel like everyone says something different. Some people say, "Call them at lunch." They're
yeah,
likely on their lunch break. Call them at the beginning or at the very end of the day, and then, I've got all day. What am I supposed to do?
yeah,
So, having that insight would be fantastic.
yeah,
I do wonder if there's a way, even if you just base it on completed calls, back into the CRM and pulling analytics, because that's really where you want your analytics to lie
yeah.
primarily, is back within that source of record. So if you could figure, I'm sure I'm going to add it to my list to talk about with them, but like there's,
I was just thinking, do you remember at the sales summit, Ashley, when Mike Bradbury was like, he asked the question of the audience. He's like, who in here would like to know exactly who's active on LinkedIn before you prospect them on LinkedIn? And everyone's like, yeah, I would like to know that. And he just showed in Sales Navigator like how to figure that out. And I'm like, it makes sense to reach out to your prospects when they're the most active. And I know with email tools we have that, but I've
Mhm.
not heard of that in a call tool. So if you guys can put that together, you can stay right out on that front edge of bringing innovation to agencies.
See it being like a case study where we just could actually like dive into, I mean, with the access to analytics across all of our customer base and agencies, you get a broader picture as well, not just what one is doing. That would be all
Yeah.
right. Thanks for giving me more
Yeah.
work, man.
The thing is like I look at that and like I know the data behind that dashboard. The data's there. Like it would
Yeah,
not, it would
exactly.
just take someone to jump into the data and figure out how to put the two metrics together to show that. So you already have the data. So the answer is just it's there laying right behind that dashboard. So
Yep,
Yeah,
uh,
exactly.
we
that's
have it.
fun.
Just
All right.
unlocking it.
That's
That's
it.
what it's always about.
That's it. There's always new ideas, and I'm glad to see that Cloud Call is out there, kind of on that front edge and adding these new things, and that you're writing back into Bullhorn. As I mentioned, my partner at the recruiting company, that was his big takeaway. He's like, man, this is going to help us, basically help our recruiters better connect with talent. Being able to have your calls monitored and recorded and log the data back into Bullhorn automatically saves them admin time, but also gives them better match capabilities. And so I think what you're doing is awesome, and I appreciate you taking time to share it with us.
Yeah, is that David? I think Ethan. I connected with Ethan a couple months ago, and then saw him at Engage, and he's like, "I want to get you in front of David."
Yeah.
So is that who you're talking
So
about? Your recruiting?
that's the recruiting company. Yeah. My partner is Francis, which is David's boss. But David and Ethan are, I mean, they're kind of counterparts in the organization for operations and sales. So
Hmm.
if you're talking to them, you're talking to the right people.
Gotcha.
And they're both best in the business. They're both so good at what they do.
Yeah.
So and I'll be excited to hear their feedback on it. Cool. Well, I know we're at time. I'm grateful for you taking time out of your day and making what I think is probably one of the more fun interviews and tech reviews that I've had. I love laughing throughout things and having a good time. So thank you for that. And if people want to check out Cloud Call more, and actually, I know there's a lot of stuff we didn't even have time to get into. So if they want to learn more about the platform and how it can work for them to improve their recruiting operation or level up their sales game, who should they reach out to? Is this an Ashley play? Sam, should they talk to you? Like, how do they get in touch with someone from Cloud Call?
Yeah,
Sam's your
that'll be me.
guy.
Sam's the guy.
Yeah, what works? Should I send you over like my email and calendar
Yeah,
link, or
shoot me
what
your
works
email. I'll
there?
get your email on screen in the magazine. Are you active on LinkedIn? If they went to you on LinkedIn, okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll get both. I know Ashley's active on LinkedIn. I think she's literally
Nice.
everywhere. Every three posts in my feed, I think. Um, I don't know how
That
you could
sounds
be at
like too
six.
many.
Yeah, it's like six conferences at once. I mean, she's at Bullhorn Engage. She's like over here in Chicago. I don't even know. Like you got like AI clones out there. So, um, cool. I will get all of your contact information on page. And folks, if you're out there and you're dealing with old antiquated phone systems or you're looking for probably one of the easiest lifts for increased efficiency, leveling up your phone system is a great way to start. And Cloud Call is a great solution for that. So thank you all for being here today and showing us this tool. And I wish you all the best.
Thanks so much, Dan. Great seeing you.
Thanks, Dan.